let's just get this out of the way first. I know, I can't believe it either. I'm finally back. Uh, so, for anyone who may have missed it on my wall, for those who care enough anyway, I get it if you don't. For the longest time, I've been dealing with a very, very deep cavity in my wisdom tooth, my very upper right back tooth. It was freaking killing me. Very painful. I couldn't really enjoy anything. I couldn't enjoy eating. I couldn't enjoy working out. I couldn't even enjoy recording. So, for those reasons, is why I was gone as long as I was. And I apologize for having been gone for so long. But I'm ready to get back to uploading. And I've missed quite a few things while I've been away. First things first, yes, I'm well aware of the DLC coming up with 18, Fidel, another Goku, and another Vegeta. Personally, I'm fine with it, as long as they function differently enough compared to their other versions in game. And plus, it's really not the first time that they've done something like that. I think a really good example would be the most recent DLC we got, which was Beast Gohan, which is another Gohan, Orange and Yellow Piccolo, which are two more Piccolos. Similar case to when we had the DLC 9 with Ribrianne, only, we got two Vegetas with that and Ribrianne. But anyway, got a request here by Huang Kua 5509. Probably butchered their name. But down below, I'll put a link to one of my vids where it goes over pretty much any figure I would recommend using for either going first or going second. Basically, how Hero Colosseum works is you want to focus on going first or going second. And the meta right now, if you want to call it that, for anyone who still plays Hero Colosseum, you want to use the ODU skills if you're going first, and the up second, and some of the up second 2 skills when going second. Now, there are a lot of units that you'll see that I recommend, and ones that would be okay to must use. Everything else you can feel free to ignore from that vid down below in the description. But I'll just go over my personal decks in depth. So first we have Videl. You'll see this very commonly in player versus player. This unit specifically. And I recommend, personally, duping her entirely into attack. She has more than enough speed. And plus, she's mitigating a lot of enemy speed as is. Attack up ODU, speed up ODU, and ultimate gauge on every turn. Very important, in my opinion, to have at least one or two of these throughout your deck. Because that more or less guarantees that your opponent cannot ult you and just sweep your entire side. And, of course, you will want to keep those units safe as best you can. So, think and choose carefully before putting this character skill on any of your units for your deck. Next, we have EX21. These are all, the most top-tier figures that I personally recommend using in, of going first deck, by the way. And if any deck beats this in, player versus player, it's probably due to a number of things. Before I even get into the rest of the deck, know that there is some RNG to the game. Not just the figure pulls, but to the mode as a whole. What I mean by that is, let's say your opponent gets lucky with a counterattack and you don't. That's a good example right there. Let's say your opponent gets lucky with the speed wheel and you get shafted on that. That's another example right there. And another example I can think of is the Spirit Bomb. Let's say they're lucky enough to get it, and you get screwed over on it. So unfortunately, there is some RNG to the mode as a whole. And there's not really a whole lot you could do about that. So that's why it's important, if you're doing the player versus player, to go in with a deck that is going to win just about any fight that could come your way, potentially. Now, player versus everything, that's a lot easier to deal with. Although I will say Gamma 2, I think, is still the most difficult free battle in the entire game. But that out of the way, going over the rest of the deck. EX21, attack up ODU, speed up ODU, and PC up FHP 50. Reason I put this on is because looking at his HP pool, even with the ODU skills, he has an incredibly high chance of surviving for another turn, and that's basically a guaranteed counterattack. He's going to be doing ridiculous amounts of damage. And another thing I want to emphasize when making these decks is board coverage. I personally think it's really important to have that. What I mean by that is look at these trigger squares in the bottom right. Whole deck covers the whole board. That's what, in my opinion, you want to see. You want to utilize the posing skills, not just the character skills, and the figure stats. You want to utilize as much of it at once as you possibly can. But anyway, next unit, 532 Janemba. This is one of the best units in the entire game, bar none. He is ridiculous. I would use the other unit, but problem with me doing that is me losing 2,000 speed basically. I wouldn't recommend doing it, so that's why I'm using this one in this deck. And especially if I use the other one, I'm getting outsped against Gamma 2. I'm probably going to get blown back a turn or two, and then not good, and then he'll snowball from there. That destruction out of the way. Yeah, attack up ODU, speed up ODU, ultimate gauge up, turn 5. Next, EX87. I get a lot of questions about this guy, and for those wondering how to break into him, I'll put a link to the description down below. I also get a lot of questions about EX21, come to think of it. But I do have another vid going over, EX limit break paths. I have a much longer vid going over every single unit in the game at their max base stats. That is an incredibly long one. It's almost 2 hours. It's ridiculous. But, other deck. Figure number 205, Goku Super Saiyan 4. Any of second defensive, second 2, and FHP Cure, FHP 50L. Now, I actually busted out the calculator. Reason I don't have attack up second 2 on him is because he's actually getting more out of this. Because his trigger square is already boosting his attack to insane amounts, and this is just another multiplier on top of that. So he's going to get more out of multiplying by 20% that turn, plus another 10% from his trigger square. And the FHP 50L character skill is just there to pretty much troll the enemy. It's very often where I'll be in a free battle, and I finish with either a half master HP, and all my units are healthy, or everyone is just completely healthy. Or worst case scenario, one unit is close to death, and my master HP is either half or below half. This deck is ridiculous. But anyway, do entirely in HP. Continuing on. Number 655, Gohan. Defensive second 2, FHP Cure, FHP 50L. That's another reason I'm going over my decks, by the way. I often get questions about what I recommend as far as what to use with decks. Problem with a lot of the ones I'm showing are exclusively UR, meaning you cannot break into them. So just as an example, you cannot break into this unit, 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 you cannot break into this unit. They are all exclusively RNG pulls. And unfortunately, that's just how they are. Unfortunately, some of the best units in the game, they're just built differently. They're just like that. And you have to pray to RNGs that you get them. But continuing on, Duke Italian attack on Gohan. Figure 535, Frieza. Once again, Duke Italian entirely into attack. I'm still really tired, if you couldn't tell. I got up at, I want to say 7 p.m. yesterday. It's 1:28 the next day. I'm really tired. I just got done getting surgery and all that shit. Stupid tooth. Anyway, attack up second 2, defensive second 2, FHP Cure, FHP 50L. Also, one last side note. The Paper Mario 1000 Year Door remake is coming out next month, expect to see a lot of the playthrough going up before then, so that people have a reference for 100%ing that thing, because it is a ridiculously long and tedious beast to 100%. So that's why I'm doing that. Anyway, I'm also going to be getting it and playing the hell out of it. Not for the channel, but off-screen. Toa, number 350. She breaks this entire game in two. She is ridiculous. She completely turns this mode on its head by herself. Look at what she does with her trigger square. You can easily control that. With Attack Up Second 2, Defense Up Second 2, and MHP Cure, MHP 50L. Only thing I'm going to say about her is just be wary of enemy units that can lock her in place, and you'll be good. You can easily control the battlefield with just this. You can easily play mind games with her, too. But yeah, that pretty much goes over how you want to build a deck in Hero Colosseum. I know I didn't really go over a whole lot of strategies and whatnot, but there are really only two when it boils down to it. If you try running a first and second deck, it's just not going to work out for you. You want to focus on one or the other. Units, I'm going to leave up to you. Ones that I personally recommend, you'll hear me call out in one of the vids I got linked down below. You can also find the break paths again for the EX units. And yeah, I hope this helps out some new Hero Colosseum players who are just getting into it or want to learn more about Hero Colosseum. And I will see you guys later. I'm going to go and get some shit out of here. I am freaking exhausted. Next time, expect some free battles more than likely. And I'll see you guys then. Peace out.